everyone for coming. I, really appreciate it, because I know it's a Friday night and some people have other things to do. We probably all, can think of better places to be in some ways, but then again, not. And I realize I'll be quite honest, some of that was very hard for me to watch even. So I'm sure it sparked things from your own life. What we want to do is obviously have two people here. So I want to introduce them and kind of just let people open up a little bit about what they want to talk about, from that. But we also want to hear, from the two women that we have here. First off, just to introduce real shortly, Representative Valdinia Wynn from Wyandotte County. Then I'd like to introduce Bridget Hughes. Bridget's 25. She's a Wendy's worker. She's married. She has 3 young kids. She works full-time at Wendy's. This says making $8.75. I don't know if any of that's changed. And her husband works as a gas station attendant. And they're also raising a teenager who they've lovingly taken into their family because a friend of Bridget's was this teenager's mother, and she could no longer care for the child. So they've taken on an awful lot and trying to just live their lives like everyone else does, but on low-wage jobs. And so Bridget is a part of those efforts, and also a lot of other efforts to just bring more dignity to a lot of the women that work in low-wage fields. So. First, just to have you guys say something. I mean, where did the film take either of you? And what would be a way to maybe start off a conversation?
Hi, my name is Bridget Hughes. Ms. Sanchez partially introduced me, but I am a part of Stand Up KC for the last 2 years with low-wage workers across the country to fight for 15 in the union, as well as racial and gender equality. As she mentioned, I'm a part of the Fannie Lou Hamer's Women's Committee, which is a group of low-wage working women across the city who meet every month to discuss issues that women face on the job that were also mentioned in this film, such as sexual harassment, not getting unpaid maternity leave, as well as being passed up for promotions and different wages versus men versus women. In this film, they mentioned a lot of things that I see in the workforce today. I mean, we deal with, I had all 3 of my children, and when I had to leave to give birth to those children, I was not compensated for that. I was out of work for almost a year trying to care for my child as well as my own health. I had a lot of health risks surrounded around giving birth to my children, and I was not compensated for that, which makes things a lot more difficult for my husband and I to care for these children and not be able to work at the time. We also face sexual harassment on the job. This is a daily thing. A lot of this is not talked about in these types of jobs that women hold nowadays. We don't really talk about this very much. I mean, whether it's a manager or a co-worker, and even sometimes customers, we deal with this on a daily basis. Also, in the film, it mentioned that 70% of all people living in poverty are women. That 70% of Americans are women just like me living in poverty. This has to change. This is why I fight every single day, along with low-wage workers across the country, for gender equality, for racial equality, to higher wages. A lot of things that you hear about, Stand Up KC, and what we're fighting about is around the 15 in a union. 15 in a union is so much more than money. 15 in a union means we have a chance to give our children a good shot at life. We have the opportunity to give these children a great education. Our future is held by us women living in poverty. Sorry. Getting a little emotional. Aside from that, I urge every last one of you to make people more aware of things that are going on in these low-wage jobs, especially surrounding women. It's hard for all of us, but women definitely have it a lot harder. And I will continue to fight. I hope that all of you will help with this fight, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you, Bridget. Just the thought of being part of a national screening gives me a little bit more energy. That there are people across the United States like us, and that hopefully we don't leave here and then go sit down. Second thing that comes to my mind, this lady I worked with last year, and I don't know where she got the phrase, but it just sticks with me, that if you're not outraged, you're not paying attention. And that, we knew of every one of those issues, the statistics. We know those statistics. Here we are, academia, so I know about the unemployment statistics, I know about the poverty statistics, and we talk about it from the textbook. But when the visuals of the international women, I just don't see it often enough. And so that struck me. The rape and the violence and the emotional pain, we don't like talking about. And it came to me that a couple years ago, the college, I teach at Kansas Community College also, and it was a concerted effort to, first day of classes, you will show this video. We will talk about rape on campus. We'll talk about that. And so last year, we didn't talk about it. And so I kept asking, well, aren't we going to do this? I mean, this is still an issue. This year, I asked again, not talking about it. And so I'm saying to myself, okay, so if the institutions don't want to talk about it, then the students, I'm going to talk about it. But I'm thinking, what happened to that emergency? What happened to that urgency? And then the issue of traffic. We passed a little bit of legislation this last year, and don't start talking about DCF and Kansas, please. That's a whole nother disaster, a nightmare for foster children. But those issues that, unless it impacts our lives, and I congratulate you every day, I'm thinking, and the professional women, we think we've made it. The one woman that worked on Wall Street saying, I just don't want to talk about it because I may not get promoted. Come on. Our comfort zone, if that film didn't make you uncomfortable, then you're colder than anybody I know. And so that for us to be uncomfortable, that will motivate us. And hopefully we can move from tonight and do something. I don't know what to do. You got 9 issues, we can't tackle all of them. But I know one of those issues at least touches each of us. And if we can do something from that. But again, collectively, all across the United States, that has got to be a great collection for us to do something. Was it Kamala, the filmmaker? It's like the same issues are we know about 1972. What has happened to that discussion? All of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, now it's ERA again. Well, then what are we going to do? So that's where I am. Okay. Outraged.
And so we hear about these things all the time, but we're not connecting the dots. So one of the things, probably honestly, because I have you here, Bridget, I would love it if you could just talk a little bit more about some of the sexual harassment and things that you know of. Now, it doesn't have to be from your personal, but I want to have this opportunity at least for more people to understand that, because I think so many of us see that, we see your faces all the time because you're at the counter. So often it's a woman, at the fast food place or wherever, or it's a lady that's coming in to do some of the home health care. And I don't think we always quite realize some of the things that you guys face.
First of all, let me define sexual harassment. Sexual harassment can be any comment, any touch, any act that makes you feel uncomfortable in any kind of way. This is not usually talked about, these smaller forms of sexual harassment, such as a customer comes in, oh, you have a nice butt. That is sexual harassment. A customer coming in asking for your phone number. Managers telling you, oh, well, if you come to dinner with me, then maybe I will give you a promotion. These are things that we deal with in these types of jobs every single day, but they're not talked about because it's not sexual assault. We can't get any kind of help for it unless there's a physical act committed against us. This is wrong. We should be able to do something about it, whether somebody physically harms us or not. I should be able to feel safe no matter where I'm at, whether I'm at work, I'm at home, I'm at school, I'm at church. I should never have to feel uncomfortable, period. We deal with stuff. A couple years back, I was in childcare. I've had dads come in and offer to take me out to dinner. Oh, we'll pay you a little more money on the side, just come and do this for me. We deal with this stuff every single day. Nobody ever thinks about it, nobody ever talks about it, but it's still happening. And we have nothing to protect us against these types of things in these jobs. Most of our managers are males. The managers who are not males are still male-minded, meaning in the fact that they're not going to promote us or give us the amount of money that our male counterparts also get. They're ran by the mentality of the man who is running this corporate, our CEO, who's making billions and billions of dollars off of us. This is the mentality that they're forced to work under, whether they're a female or not. But 90% of the people, and Wendy's, I don't know about anybody else, but I've looked up Wendy's. 90% of people in management in Wendy's are males. That means there's a small percentage of women who have any type of power within this company. I can't say about all fast food or low-wage jobs, but I know I looked up Wendy's, so you can quote me on Wendy's. But yeah, definitely a very big issue amongst millions and millions of other issues, but sexual harassment seems to be the growing epidemic, and it's not necessarily sexual assault or rape. It's the smaller forms of sexual harassment that still make us quit our jobs, lose wages, not want to go to work, constantly switching jobs. And in a declining economy, you can't just say, oh, I'm going to quit my job because I'm constantly being harassed. Because at home, you still have rent, you have lights, you have gas, you have water. You can't just up and quit because of this. So you're forced to deal with these types of things despite any kind of rights that you may or may not have. What are rights to us? We don't know. We know of them, but we have no idea what this is going to do to protect us. We don't have rights in our eyes.
Now you know why I wanted her to speak. You're a rock star. Okay. And we've got to your left the person that hopefully maybe can laws help, or is it partly that how do you change minds, how do you change hearts, how do you change attitudes?
I was thinking about that as she was talking, that, excuse me, so we passed the ERA. You had 3 more states to pass it. What then shot to my mind, every time I saw Scalia up there, I can't tell you what I thought. I think you know what I was thinking. But I thought, we have got to change that court. We have, that election is so important. I mean, it is past important. I I couldn't catch if Sandra Day O'Connor, how she voted on some of those cases.
The wrong way.
Okay, and but we know the current ones are not. Sotomayor and the other ones. Go back to your original question. That's got to be the first step. We've got to change the laws, but we've got to educate us. As Bridget says, those other forces of society is so dysfunctional, it's maintaining the dysfunction to maintain the status quo. I mean, it's kind of cyclical, as the lady said, you know, capitalism is going to identify us, give us those categories, race, gender, class, and it maintains that, and it maintains that to control us. I love the way she talked about the patriarchal society of controlling the women. And all you can say was like, wow, yeah, I mean, how do you change that? So laws are not going to change it, but we're going to have to figure out a critical mass to say, have a new civil rights movement. I mean, if you have to quit the job, then we're going to have a support system to help her pay the rent. I don't see any other way to work it. But we're going to have to also, it's you know, the incarceration, that struck me, of women who defended themselves or even just shot off the gun in the garage, and I get 20 years. I should have shot you. You know, at least I know if I hit the mark. Sorry. But, yeah, you know, I missed your head, I got you in your heart. But we've got to change the laws and then try to enforce them. But then we're going to have to be subversive. We're going to have to work and do things differently because the system is not going to protect us. I don't know what that means.
Yeah. I think we wanted to hear from some people in the audience. Does somebody have a burning statement?
Now we're getting lots of calls wanting us to vote for different people. We need to tell these callers we want ERA passed in Missouri. And Missouri would stand out like Tennessee does, being the last state to give women the vote. If we would be one of the three to pass ERA.
Did everyone hear that? She's just suggesting that, you know what, why doesn't Missouri get on it, basically? And yeah, I mean, use your pressure. I don't think, you know, as much as people think that they can't affect the voting process, your vote still does count. I've seen it so many times where it does, and it's the vacuum. When legislators don't hear, and I don't know, maybe women have a little different impression, but when they don't hear from people, that's when they do the squirrely stuff. Yeah, we did it, tilt the table a little bit. Someone else.
Well, even when they hear from you, because I often call and or write my legislator or senator, and lots of times their mailboxes are totally full because they've gotten so many phone calls. But in Missouri, with the Republicans in charge, they think they hold the power and that they don't need to listen to their constituents. And what we need to do is mobilize and vote these people out. And that is a lot of work. I know I ran for office myself, and it is a lot of hard work, but it can be done. And you have to keep trying until you accomplish that goal.
Thank you for running, too. I mean, you're right, that's a heck of a thing to even attempt. Someone else.
It seems, I mean, I support the ERA.
Stand up.
Speak
They
up.
can't hear you. Speak out.
I
Where's the
think,
microphone?
I don't have one. I like the discussion about the ERA. I was a volunteer activist in that. We didn't get it passed. But it seems like the issue of the moment that is so critical is the election of a president called Hillary Clinton. So that we can get a Supreme Court that can interpret the laws that have already been passed decently. As a lawyer, I would never agree or never vote if I was on the court the way the current Supreme Court has voted on those issues. And the women that were prosecuted, I used to be a prosecutor, had clearly a self-defense case. Our judiciary is a critical component of any civil rights movement. And we have a Supreme Court that is not part or does not recognize civil rights. And we need to change it. And with the election of Hillary Clinton, that will change significantly. Not just with one more vote, but there'll probably be other resignations or retirements. So we need a different Supreme Court, so the laws that we have and may pass in the future, hopefully will pass in the future, will be correctly interpreted.
Another gentleman, yeah, right there.
Yes, I'd like to put in a word in support of what this gentleman just said about the importance of the Supreme Court. It seems to me, from what I've seen here tonight and what I think we all are sympathetic with, that perhaps the ERA is not a sort of a catch-all answer, that electing not only Ms. Clinton, but getting out there and paying a lot of attention to the under-ballot races that are going to change the House of Representatives and Congress, hopefully someday change the Missouri General Assembly in Jefferson City and other states. And among other things, Bridget here mentioned, and I think very accurately, that a union is terribly important. I honestly don't see that passing the ERA would strengthen unions. But getting people in power who will appoint people who will support unions to the National Labor Relations Board and will not try to push union-kicking measures in state legislatures, I think that's really important. So get out there and vote.
Thank you. I think we might be able to take just one more comment, and then we're probably going to have to wrap it up. Ma'am?
I think as much stand up. Hi. I think as much as we talk about the importance of the judiciary and the law, I think it's really important to talk about the larger cultural narrative we have as women and the way we see ourselves represented in film and the media and just society at large. Because so often the government is a reflection of how we're viewed by the population, and so often we're viewed as objects, basically. So it's important to have strongly backed really great representations of a diverse intersectional representation of women, not just the white women's experience of America, or not just the upper class experience of America. And so you need to support different levels of art, different levels of filmmakers, all sorts of different literature. And government is so important, but we have to talk about how we're viewed and how we view ourselves. Women in film would like to talk.
I just want to say, I echo what you're saying. We got to start the narrative or keep it going. Like you said, continue from 1972. What happened when I wasn't even born yet, and I didn't know this didn't happen. My name is Monica Espinosa, and I'm the incoming president of Kansas City Women in Film and Television. And this is the reason I want to do filmmaking, these documentaries to raise awareness about and educate ourselves and our other people we go to work with. I definitely want to talk with both of you ladies about maybe what we can do here to get the filmmaker Ms. Lopez here for the film fest. But we got to tell our own stories. I invite you all to come to any of our meetings. They're free on second Thursdays of the month at the Westport Coffee House at 7. Our website is caseywiff.com. We have a screenplay contest. We want to portray women in a better light. We support men also in our group. But we have to tell our own stories. And you're right, the statistics are really bad. Patricia Arquette, other filmmaker, activists, writers can tell you, but they're not looking good in the mainstream media. They're better in documentaries and other cable shows, but women are still portrayed more negatively. blaming the victim, all that BS you've heard, the disproportionate impact. So I feel you all, and I invite you to step up and get involved with the arts, and please get involved with our group to tell your story.
Thank you. Actually, there's, you know what, that's the thing, there's so much stuff going on here. And I'm from Kansas City, and it's like, so it angers me when people downplay the Midwest in this area. But you know, one of the things that you probably know about is, you know, Gina Davis has picked her big film festival. They have it in Bentonville, and last year was their second year, and it's all about women in film. And so she comes out here and brings, I mean, some heavy hitters come in. Bentonville is so easy to get to, it's like 3 hours away. So there's just so many options. They will be passing out these flyers as you leave, because I know, you know, this kind of thing, it can just sink in, and you're like, almost be overwhelming. But, gosh, I can remember her name. There was a lady that had been involved in political circles that I met years ago, and she said that she finally had decided that what everybody needs to do is just pick their little nugget. You know, pick your little acorn of the thing, your issue, whatever you can make an influence on, you know, and start within your circle of influence. And even if it is just showing up to vote, fine. Or having a conversation with a son or daughter, fine. You know, within your church group, your fraternal order, whatever it is. Or maybe even just shutting down the arrogant person that maybe says something that they shouldn't be saying the next time you're out, you know, in a social circle. You know, do whatever you can do, but they're gonna pass these flyers out, and it will give some options of just different things around some of these. But then, you know, you guys take it. It's up to us to make the, you know, this city and country and world what we want it to be. And I really appreciate you coming tonight, because that right there said a lot. Thank you for all of our guests here too. I wish we had more time, because I know we could talk longer, but we can't. Bridget has a quote that she thinks that she would like to leave us with, so.
This was said by Fannie Lou Hamer, which is why we named our committee after her. Nobody is free until everybody is free.